Hello and welcome to the Elder Small channel. I am Elder Small and I'd like to thank you for the few minutes we'll spend together wherein I will conclude my review of chapter 7 of my book, You Deserve More. And so as I begin, let me say that given the Earth's probable existence for billions of years, human life or sentient life on Earth has evolved, resulting in the rise and fall of numerous civilizations. The ancient philosopher Creatus states that, and I quote, there have been and will be many different calamities to destroy mankind, the greatest of them by fire and water, lesser ones by countless others. Your own story of how Phaeton, child of the sun, harnessed his father's chariot but was unable to guide it along his father's course, and so burnt up things on earth and was himself destroyed by a thunderbolt. This is a mythical version of the truth that there is, at long intervals, a variation in the course of the heavenly bodies and consequent widespread destruction by fire of things on earth. The quote is 2,400 years old. It was made about 350 years before the birth of the biblical Jesus. This quote is taken from the book Plato, Timaeus, and Creatus. Plato is thought to be the author. He was born in Athens, Greece in 428 BCE and lived until his passing at the age of 80, 81 in or about 348 BCE. In his book, he there's a dialogue that takes place between Socrates and Creatus. As they dialogue with one another, Creatus reflects on the oral traditions handed down to him by his grandfather. His grandfather was a student or a man who learned under and from the Egyptian priests. He shared reflections on the creation of the world and human beings. The Egyptian priest says to Creatus' grandfather, "You remember only one deluge, though there have been many, and you do not know that the finest and best race of men that ever existed lived in your country. You and your fellow citizens are descended from the few survivors that remain, but you know nothing about it because so many succeeding generations left no record in writing." And so Plato's books are windows into our past, allowing us to see things beyond what archaeological discoveries reveal. They help validate the existence of ancient, well organized, and intelligent civilizations that were destroyed by catastrophic events such as the Phaeton disaster and the biblical flood of Noah. Plato also informs us that the earth has existed far beyond biblical timelines and doctrines. The Egyptian priest says to Creatus, quote, "The age of our institutions is given in our sacred records at 8,000 years, and the citizens whose laws and whose finest achievements I will now briefly describe to you therefore lived 9,000 years ago," end quote. And so, civilizations consisting of thriving communities have existed for thousands of years upon our planet. Civilizations, cultures, and people about whom we know nothing about were destroyed by catastrophic events. These ancient civilizations, they possess knowledge about our planet, about our lives, and our universe that our present generation is unaware of. We deserve to know these things. As a matter of fact, we deserve to know everything about our planet and about ourselves. And this knowing, this information is critical to or for our understanding of life. And so, with that being said, the dialogue between Socrates, Timaeus, and Creatus has something to say about Mother Earth, something important to say about Mother Earth. Timaeus says, and so the most likely account must say that this world came to be in very truth through God's providence, a living being with soul and intelligence. The earth came to be with living being with so with, it came to be a living being with soul and intelligence. Ancient scholars, they believe that the earth is conscious, alive, and intelligent. This perspective is echoed by Tahuti, who stated, "For know ye that the earth is living in body, as thou art alive in thine own form." And so, growing up, I was taught that Hades and Sheol were words used interchangeably with the word hell. It was said that hell was located in the center of the earth. It was also said to be the domain of Satan, home to demons, and the destination for all sinners, and everyone was a sinner. Hell was described as a torture chamber, a place where sinners were tormented, a place from which there was no escape. The only hope for avoiding spending eternity in hell was to profess faith in Jesus Christ. Although the earth was our home, the place where we were born and matured into adults, the belief that hell resided in its center is perhaps why no one spoke or seemed to care about Mother Earth. Disregard for Mother Earth was supremely exemplified on July 16, 1945, when the United States government detonated the world's first nuclear bomb at a site located 210 miles south of Los Alamos, New Mexico. Since that date, the Arms Control Association reports that 528 nuclear bombs have been detonated above ground and 1,528 detonated underground. And so, if you pause and think for a moment, think about, where does all of that radiation and energy end up? Where, after bouncing around for for decades, where does it end up? And while thinking about it may be mind-boggling, there's more. Consider the Arabian Sea, which has the largest known dead zone in the world. It is a span of ocean larger than Florida, wherein all the oxygen has been sucked out of the ocean, has been removed from the ocean. Pollution is the primary culprit affecting the ocean and its marine life. This occurs when human beings release harmful chemicals into the ocean. Various sources contribute to the issue, including fertilizers and pesticides from agriculture, sewage, and pollutants from land based sources like stormwater. These contaminants make it increasingly difficult for marine organisms to survive. It is estimated that there are approximately 530 dead zones worldwide, covering an area of about 95,000 square miles. There's not much difference between the way the earth is being polluted and the way we as human beings are polluting our bodies. The National Diabetes Statistics Report of 2022 documented that in 2019, more than 37 million people of all ages had diabetes, and 8.5 million adults were not even aware that they were walking around with diabetes. In addition to the diabetes pandemic, according to the heart disease and stroke statistics 2019 update, 116.4 million people, or 40%, 46% of U.S. adults in the United States, are estimated to have hypertension, which echoes a 2016 report, which stated that 121.5 million adults in the U.S., that is 48%, had cardiovascular disease. Heart disease was the number one cause of death in the United States, and stroke was number five. And these numbers were consistent in the previous year, 2015. The basic cause of both diabetes and heart disease is obesity. In the U.S., 39.6% of adults and 18.5% of youth are obese, and severe obesity affected 7.7% of adults and 5.6% of youth. This may sound like a stretch, but obesity is attributed to abnormal or excessive fat accumulation, which results from our diet, that is, what we put into our bodies. Likewise, the earth is considered obese in the sense that we're releasing substances into the earth that harm our ecosystem. One example is plastic. As one report I read stated that by the year 2050, there will be more plastic in our oceans than fish. It is even more alarming to consider all the nuclear bombs we have pointed at the earth, that is, pointed at ourselves. Can we blame the overwhelming presence of diabetes and heart disease on ignorance? And in the same way, can we blame ignorance for the pollution in our air and oceans? Can we blame ignorance for deforestation? Can we blame ignorance for all of the bombs, the nuclear bombs we have pointed at ourselves? I don't think so. Because in the same way our bodies tell us that something is wrong, Mother Earth has been telling us that something is wrong for a while now. Mother Earth screams that something is wrong. Tahuti left records informing us that the earth has a heart, and that just as we are spirits incarnate in human bodies, Mother Earth is a living body wherein its spirit abides. He also informs us that the earth is the source of substance for all things that exist upon its surface. Pollution, heart disease, and diabetes, as well as other known and unknown threats to the earth and humanity, they can be subdued, but it will take all of humanity working together in unity and oneness towards balance and harmony and restoring the natural order of creation. Dr. Somi tells us about a sacred ritual practiced among the Dagara people, the Dagara tribe, known as the Earth Ritual. The Earth Ritual involves villagers coming together to thank and honor Mother Earth for food, water, air, and other means of nourishment that sustain our bodies, the home of our souls. The Earth Ritual is an event where people come together before the Great Earth Mother, who listens to their troubles and reciprocates with feelings of renewal and rebirth. One of the events that takes place during the Earth Ritual is the ritual of symbolic burial, also referred to as taking cover under the earth. There are two aspects of the Earth Ritual. The first being horizontal confinement, where people are buried while laying flat, leaving only their faces uncovered. The second is referred to as vertical confinement, where the person is buried in an upright position from the neck down. Standard initiation practices involve vertical burial. The initiate is buried from the neck down and left that way overnight. They begin the earth ritual with an invocational prayer to the great Earth Mother and the ancestors whose bodies remain indefinitely in earth confinement. The ritual is intended to be a true rebirth for everyone in the community. And as the ritual comes to an end, time is provided for the villagers to send praises to the Earth Mother for the wonderful feeling of renewal or the feeling of being reborn. Stephen Harding, who wrote the book Animate Earth, Science, Intuition, and Gaia, states that humans can lead happier, healthier, more knowledgeable, and lively lives if we return to the experience of Gaia as a living presence. Indigenous tribes and cultures worldwide acknowledge the Earth Mother who grants life to the living and receives the dead into her rich soil. The ancient Greeks called Mother Earth Gaia, which the name Gaia refers to the soul of the earth. Gaia was the embodiment of primordial intelligence manifesting as both spiritual and material, sustaining all that exists. The earth has been with us and will always been. The earth has always been with us, and it is always there to teach us where we came from and where we shall return during our incarnations as physical beings. Mother Earth is steadfast and she is familiar to our senses. There is a maximum that says, "Don't bite off the hand that feeds you." The earth has been resilient, strong, caring, and loving towards not only human beings but all forms of life on our planet. Consequently, she is deserving of our care, our love, our compassion, our empathy. The strongest bond we have is with Mother Earth, as we are flesh of flesh and bone of bone embedded in her. She is our eternal home, and she has proved worthy of our loyalty and protection. Throughout all time, the earth has been perceived as the origin and sustainer of life. Everything from genes to organisms to our ecosystems, they all live within Mother Earth. Mother Earth provides us with clean air, water, soil, and countless other living organisms that make our lives possible. Every morsel of food we consume was once alive in the heart of Mother Earth. She provides us with cotton and wool for our clothing, as well as wood, plastic, fossil fuels, minerals, plants, animals, and medicines, all of which are organisms that are alive as a whole within Mother Earth. Although not audible or visible to the naked eye, the earth communicates with plants, and plants process carbon dioxide into oxygen. It's remarkable that the level of oxygen has remained stable. A small increase to perhaps 25 to 30% oxygen could cause the atmosphere to burst into flames, while a decrease to 10% would probably be lethal to most life forms. The Earth has maintained a concentration of oxygen at just the right level for millions of years. Simply standing on the earth and breathing the air is a profound manifestation of our dependence and interconnectedness with Mother Earth. And so that concludes this brief review. There's more information in Chapter 7. If you get a chance, pick up the book. You deserve more. And so, with that, let me wish you, let me say, may you be blessed with supreme intelligence, and may the greatest good be a part of your lives. Ashe, Dua, Hotep.